Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of the IndySportsOne mini podcast. Today, we are joined by Marcus at Colts Talk, and he is not going to be a guest on the show. He's actually going to be joining the podcast squad. You're going to hear him in the rest of our podcast, hopefully. And today, we're going to be covering 3 breakout players. But before we do that, Marcus, you can go ahead and introduce yourself and plug whatever social media accounts or just talk about anything you want.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Colts Talk here. First time here on the podcast. I am excited. This is a good thing going for the Colts here, and I cannot wait to get things started, and especially I cannot wait for the season. So let's go ahead and talk some football.
Let's do it. All right. So, like I said, we're going to go through 3 breakout players. And when we say breakout, like keep in mind, this isn't going to be like all rookies. Like we're talking people that are ready to have a big season, whether a rookie or they're a veteran. So, Marcus, I'll let you start off with the first player that we're going to be talking about here.
All right. So the first player that I would like to bring up in mind that might have a breakout next year is the guy that we drafted in 2017 at the end of the season. He played 3 years in Clemson. His name is Deon Cain. Now, he came in with a lot of hype, and I was actually hyped to see him play in the Colts jersey along with the GOAT, one of the best, well, the best quarterback in the NFL, and Andrew Luck. In college, he played 3 years. He gradually increased every year from freshman year to junior year. He can average almost 60 receptions in a season, which is pretty good. And he's going to be on average, I should say, as the guy we're going to bring up later on in the conversation. But Deon Cain is definitely a person I would look out for. He's quick, he's tall, he's lengthy, he can catch the football. And I feel like he can make progress in already a great receiver core that we have. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I kind of like what you said there, how he's progressed since college. I think, like you said, every year at Clemson, he just went up, up, up. And unfortunately, so far, the major opportunity he's gotten has been kind of derailed by injuries. And then last year, I mean, he was killing it in camp. I was at the camp last year. By the way, I recommend going. It's a great time. But I was at the camp, and the videos that they put out don't do justice because you don't see everything that he does. But he was just absolutely dominating. I was ready for him to be wide receiver number 2, right next to Ty. But obviously, the ACL injury kind of took away his season and might take away half his season. But definitely a breakout candidate here, especially with Andrew Luck back and healthy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Deon Cain is our first breakout candidate, and our second one is actually another wide receiver who was one of our acquisitions this offseason, and that is Devin Funchess. What excites me about Funchess is he is 6'4" and ran a 4.62 at the combine. Now, he's been in the league a couple years, so whether his combines went up or down, who knows? But 6'4" at 4.6, 4.7, 4.5, wherever, that is a pretty rare combination, and we know how much Luck loves those big targets. Last year, he had 44 receptions for 549 yards. But the one thing that killed Funchess was dropping the ball. Dropping the ball. Colts fans, we don't like that. But from what we've heard so far from camp, Frank Reich said that he's doing a great job catching the ball. Obviously, he's going to be a player that can go up and get the ball. And actually, last year in Carolina, he was known for his out routes and curl routes, which happened to be 2 of the most thrown routes by Luck last year. And before we move on to the next one, he's also going to be a great red zone target. Pair him with Eric Ebron. The defenses aren't going to know what to do. And I'm excited to see him and Andrew Luck get to work in this season.
All right, yeah, I totally agree with everything you said about Devin Funchess. Devin Funchess is one of those sleeper guys. That's why we have him in this category. One of the things I would say for Devin Funchess is he's going to see a big change at quarterback play between these 2 quarterbacks that he plays with, between Cam Newton and Andrew Luck. One thing about Cam Newton, he's more of a mobile quarterback. I would say more mobile than Andrew Luck, because Andrew Luck doesn't have to be as mobile as Cam Newton, because Andrew Luck has a very efficient offensive line. I mean, Andrew Luck can get out there and scramble the football if he has to. He's shown it last season. But I would say Andrew Luck's more accurate with passing the football as well. Cam Newton doesn't really wow me, since after the Super Bowl, he went off against the Broncos and kind of struggled from there. So I wouldn't put him in the same category or same tier as Andrew Luck. So you would definitely see Funchess being more aggressive and having more of a 2017 season, but probably even better than he did in Carolina. So he'll probably have more pop. But yeah, I agree with everything you said there, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Funchess and Andrew Luck combo next year.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out too, because Devin Funchess is a Michigan alum, and personally, I'm a huge Michigan football fan. But what I wanted to add to the Cam Newton part was at Michigan, Funchess played with Bernard Robinson, who is known as Shoelaces. He was always on the run, always scrambling out of the pocket. And then when Robinson went to the NFL, Devin Gardner took over, and he wasn't the best quarterback. He was a mobile one too. You know, he had some good games. He wasn't awful, but he definitely wasn't anything like Andrew Luck. And same thing with Cam Newton. Hasn't been the same since they went to the Super Bowl that year. He's been battling shoulder injury the past year or so. And so now that he has Andrew Luck, expect big things from him. And like Marcus mentioned, in 2017, he was having a great season. They traded Calvin Benjamin. He was doing great things, and then he injured his shoulder, which he battled throughout the season, and he didn't finish as strong as he wanted to. So expect big things from the wide receiver core, not only T.Y. Hilton, but from Deon Cain and Devin Funchess. And now we're going to flip it over to the defensive side for one more breakout player, and that is Quincy Wilson.
Oh, yes. My guy, Quincy Wilson from the University of Florida, is definitely a talent that I like to see on the field. Now, I'm so happy that what the progression he made last year from 2017, he got injured, but he still caught an interception. He caught one last year as well, week 11 against the Tennessee Titans. It was a great play, great coverage. Quincy Wilson's definitely one of those guys that can add to the core we already have with Kenny Moore that just got paid big slot corner contract money. And Quincy Wilson is definitely a guy that I would want on the field to cover some top talent on the other side of Kenny Moore. And I'm happy, man. I can't wait for next year. He's going to be a breakout star. Just mark my words.
Yeah, so for those that have followed IndySportsOne, I guess since that draft, you all know that we are huge advocates for Quincy Wilson. We've never given up on him. I mean, ups and the downs from Chuck Pagano not even letting him play or practice and all that. We've always been by his side, and we really do think that he can take that next step this year, especially having Desir and Moore back. I mean, this defense not only has it gotten better with the draft and some offseason additions, but the culture you can see is building on defense, the trust in one another. And really, from the halfway point in the season on, Quincy Wilson just took a humongous step. A lot of thanks to Mike Mitchell for helping him out with film and all that stuff. But you could really see his game start coming full circle. And I think now that he has a full off season of this full understanding of the defense of the game, you're just going to see him just skyrocket out the gates next season, along with Desir and Moore. I think it's going to be a fantastic defensive group, and especially at the cornerback position. And you also got Rocky Sin there to back him up.
Woo. Nothing
Scary.
but talent. Nothing but talent, man.
It's going to be scary and it's going to be fun. But those are just three breakout players that we predict that will have a great season. Maybe amazing. Hopefully amazing. Hopefully the Colts have an amazing season. That is just three players that we like and we think that have the potential to break out next season. If you have any other players in mind, make sure to leave them in the comments below or send us a message on our social media accounts. Once again, we want to thank Marcus for joining us today, and he's going to be joining us for many, many more podcasts. And that is going to wrap this one up. 3 breakout stars. Anything else that you want to add, Marcus?
Man, this was a great podcast. I'm definitely excited for what we got in the future planned ahead. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter or YouTube, it's the same mention. It's ColtsTalkYT. ColtsTalkYT. If you want to find me anywhere, I will be there, and I am interactive on Twitter.
Yes. Make sure to follow him. He's going to be a great addition to the podcast. He's got a lot of great stuff on his YouTube channel, his Twitter, and follow us as well. But that is going to wrap it up for this episode, and we'll see you next time. Go Colts.